We can now go across to our correspondent, Noga Tarnopolsky, standing by. Noga, National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir has been a provocative figure, to say the least, in Netanyahu's government. But now we have the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister trying to put him in his place. Will it work?
Well, it absolutely won't work, Delano, I'm sorry to say. And they haven't even castigated him. What the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister have basically said is what we're seeing on the screen, right? This humiliating horror, this is not the face of Israel. That is quoting from the foreign minister's statement. Prime Minister Netanyahu and the foreign minister, Gideon Sa'ar, are desperately trying to scramble away from these images. And the reality behind these images is even worse than what we previously knew. I can tell you that the journalist Nir Hasson in Haaretz spoke with lawyers representing these activists. It's worth mentioning, none of whom have been accused of any crime at all. He said they were subject to sexual intimidation, sexual humiliation. They were shackled, tormented, tortured. This minister who you showed, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has one of the most powerful jobs in Israel, Minister for Internal Security, basically. He's in charge of the police and he's in charge of the prison service. This is the first time in his life he's had an executive job. He is a longtime ultra-right-wing, radical, violent thug, convicted 13 times of hate crimes and of terror association. So when he accuses these people who face no charges of being terror supporters, he is in a way projecting from his own background. The former head of the Mossad, the Israeli spy agency, said that these ministers, not just him, are akin to the KKK. And these images have made widely public in the world what Israelis have been living through, mostly Arab Israelis, but not just. Any Israelis protesting against the Israeli government, the Netanyahu government, have received this treatment. And now that it involves foreign citizens, the world's eyes are on this behavior, and it has proven extremely embarrassing to the Israeli government. But he is not being fired, he's not being castigated, and he's not being reprimanded.
The thing is, Benjamin Netanyahu has chosen to get into bed with people like Itamar Ben-Gvir, with Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister, these controversial types, to say the least. But now reports are surfacing that there are splits also emerging with probably his only ally left on the international stage, and that's Donald Trump.
That's right. Netanyahu is in a very, very tight corner. He was forced to create a government coalition with these kinds of characters because he himself is indicted. He's now on trial for corruption. And most of the political arena in Israel refused to sit with him. They boycotted someone who's an indicted, if not a convicted criminal. So he was forced to scrounge for ministers. And now, diplomatically, Israel is more isolated than it has been since it was established in 1948. It faces simply unprecedented hostility around the world, in part because of Prime Minister Netanyahu's hostility to the rest of the world. And the only guy left standing is Donald Trump, who Prime Minister Netanyahu very triumphantly keeps saying is his best friend. He talks with him every day. They launched a war against Iran together. But as you say, there are now too many reports to ignore from Washington and from Jerusalem indicating that ties between these two leaders are more and more strained, that Netanyahu keeps trying to push Donald Trump to re-engage in war. This came out in Axios, in CNN, in the New York Times, and that Donald Trump, facing an array of not very good options regarding Iran, is hesitating, is unsure what to do. The latest report said, in fact, that Prime Minister Netanyahu's hair was on fire after a conversation yesterday, I believe, with Donald Trump, in which Prime Minister Netanyahu had been expecting Trump to announce a new launch, a relaunch of the war with Iran within hours, and instead Donald Trump said, we're holding off. So Prime Minister Netanyahu now faces a Donald Trump who said publicly now, 2 days ago, Netanyahu is good. He'll do whatever we tell him to. This has been, again, a situation of humiliation for a prime minister who likes to, frame himself as the best security, most sovereign prime minister of Israel, and is now being shown to be really beholden to Donald Trump.